Information from the front office confirms a major strategic shift. Evaluation is over, and the search for a cornerstone starter is on. A critical position group has been targeted for an immediate upgrade to transform the roster. Like and subscribe for more. This report changes everything for the franchise. General Manager Dan Morgan has officially put the league on notice regarding the Carolina Panthers' immediate offseason strategy, signaling a shift from broad evaluation to targeted, urgent action. Morgan has confirmed that the front office has identified a specific critical position group within the roster that requires immediate and substantial improvement. While the organization maintains a level of confidentiality regarding specific targets to preserve leverage in negotiations, sources close to the situation indicate that this is not merely about adding depth, it is about finding a cornerstone starter who can alter the schematic capabilities of the team. Morgan's comments underscore a distinct change in philosophy for the Panthers. He explicitly stated that the franchise cannot afford to make mistakes in this phase of team building. This suggests a departure from speculative, high-risk signings of the past in favor of proven commodities or high-floor draft capital. The urgency here is palpable. Morgan understands that the competitive window in the NFL closes rapidly, and for Carolina to evolve from a rebuilding project into a legitimate contender in the NFC South, this specific positional deficit must be addressed before training camp. The internal assessment is that the current roster, while showing flashes of potential, lacks the requisite ceiling at this identified spot to compete against the elite offenses and defenses in the conference. This declaration places immense pressure on the scouting department and the front office to execute a flawless offseason plan. We are looking at a scenario where the Panthers are likely to be aggressive early in free agency or look to maneuver within the draft to secure their guy. The message from the top is clear. The evaluation period is over, and the time for acquisition is now. However, while the general manager is focused on fixing a single hole, there is a much louder, more controversial conversation happening regarding the rest of the lineup. Some experts believe a single fix is nowhere near enough, and you need to hear the details of a proposed total overhaul that could see familiar faces leaving Charlotte. Stay tuned, because we are diving into that drastic analysis right now. While Dan Morgan is focused on surgical upgrades to specific units, a prominent NFL analyst has issued a far more sobering assessment, arguing that the Carolina Panthers require a complete and total reformulation of the roster, effectively calling to overhaul the crew. This perspective suggests that the current stagnation in Carolina cannot be solved by simply plugging one or two holes, but rather requires a fundamental restructuring of the team's core architecture. The analysis points to a deep-seated issue within the staff structure and the player personnel that has prevented the team from competing at a high level. For a quarterback like Bryce Young, this narrative is critical. If the consensus shifts toward a total teardown, it implies that the supporting cast currently around the young signal caller is fundamentally flawed, necessitating a multi-year timeline rather than a quick turnaround. This overhaul approach would likely mean shedding veteran contracts, accumulating draft assets, and accepting that the path to relevance involves significant personnel turnover. It challenges the front office's current trajectory of trying to remain competitive while rebuilding. The analyst's critique highlights that without deep changes to the roster's foundation, the franchise risks remaining in a cycle of mediocrity. We are talking about a potential philosophical reset that goes beyond X's and O's and touches on the locker room culture itself. The implication is that the current mix of talent simply does not mesh well enough to execute a modern NFL game plan effectively. This puts the franchise at a crossroads. Do they trust their internal evaluation that they are one piece away, or do they heed the external warnings that the entire house needs to be gutted? This is the defining tension of the Panthers offseason. I want to know where you stand on this. Do you trust Dan Morgan's surgical approach to fix specific positions, or do you agree with the analysts that a total roster overhaul is the only way forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For more breaking news, roster moves, and insider analysis as the Panthers navigate this critical offseason, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will keep you ahead of every transaction.